Some people
The writer's strike is now in its fourth week, and it's only gaining support the longer it goes on. And the latest example of this took place during a commencement speech by Warner Brothers CEO David Zaslav. Listen closely to the reaction from these Boston University graduates here, and then later I'll show you a very easy to understand video explaining what this writer's strike is all about.
If you want to be successful, you're going to have to figure out how to get along with everyone. And that includes difficult people. Some people will be looking for a fight.
All right. I'm going to get to some more quotes from this speech that I just find to be interesting, and as well that breakdown discussing what this writer strike is about. It's very simple to understand. But just the reaction there to that last line, like he paused for a bit before saying it because I don't know. I think he knew he'd get a reaction there. You know, just some people looking for a fight. Yeah, like the people not paying their writers properly, looking for a fight. This goes back to my whole issue with framing around these issues and where blame lies. You know, people blaming writers for they're not going to be, new shows or new episodes of shows they love, whereas maybe blame the executives for not paying writers properly. The blame doesn't go on the writers. Yes, the writers are striking, but they're striking because they're not getting paid properly. They're not given a proper career. Increasingly, as streaming takes hold and their jobs are becoming more gigified. So that's the issue ultimately here. And I'm going to get to more on that in a second. But I just want to show you, so Worcester DSA tweeted this out. Warner Brothers Discovery CEO David Zaslav was met by a huge WGA DSA picket at Boston University's commencement today with hundreds outside, plus Scabby and a plane as BU grads turned their backs and drowned him in booze and chants. So I guess what you can't really see in that video is that their backs were also turned, at least some of them, while they were doing this. And here is some of these supporters out here. Solidarity with writers. A better world is possible. And they even had that plane out there with this message: David Zaslav, pay your writers. So some real effort went into giving David Zaslav this message during his commencement speech at Boston University. Really good to see that out there. Now, this went on for like 20 minutes, apparently. So people throughout the commencement ceremony crowd began booing at the 63-year-old entertainment executive. It did not let up until they stopped talking almost 20 minutes later. This is a great quote from Zaslav here. I had to find something that really interested me, something that I really loved, Zaslav said as someone in the crowd shouted back, "Rooting television." That's just hilarious. And this is also part of his speech. He said, the reality is most of us don't pay enough attention. Don't pay enough. He probably could have ended there. Most of us don't pay enough attention to our weaknesses because it doesn't feel good to think about our shortcomings, especially when we all believe that we mostly have it going on. And The Verge adds here, so true, David, so true. And full disclosure, The Verge's staff are unionized by the Writers Guild of America as well. Now, this is something I shared in my initial video on this writer strike, but it's important to give context here in case you're feeling bad at all for David Zaslav during the speech. He makes a lot of money while not paying people properly. So the AFL-CIO here tweeting out, this is why Hollywood is officially on strike, hold the line. So all these executives, they write here, last year, 8 major Hollywood studio CEOs made over $773 million in annual salary. 8 people making almost $1 billion in just annual salary Meanwhile, many of the workers who write their shows can't afford rent. That's why the WGA is ready to go on strike. So Zaslav here, you can see him at 246.6 million. Now, Adam Conover has done a fantastic job, really being one of the faces of this strike. And here he is again on the street explaining in very simple terms what this is all about.
Okay, Writer's Strike 101. What are we fighting for? We're fighting for the survival of television and film writing as a sustainable career, period. The streamers and studios are trying to eliminate the writer's room. They're trying to force screenwriters to write endless drafts for free. They're trying to turn late night writing from a career into a gig job, and we're not going to let them. We are out here depriving them of our labor, making sure they get no new shows until they come to the table and actually bargain over our issues, as they have refused to do thus far. We're out here. We're going to be out here until Ted Sarandos and Bob Iger and the rest of them come to the table. And until then, we'll see you on the picket line. And remember, no writing.
Perfect. That's 40 seconds, a simple explainer in case anyone in your family or friends are confused about what's going on here. I will link to this below the video under sources. Send this to them. It's very simple to understand. Last thing here, I also want to share my initial video on this since I go a little deeper into some of the fight here. So Adam Conover roasts CNN boss on CNN over writer strike. So I'll link to that video below as well. Who knows how long this will last? I believe the last writer strike went 100 days, something around there. So we're going to see. This is definitely having an impact on the shows you watch and love, but understand where the blame lies. It lies with the executives who do not want to pay their writers enough, the people that are giving them this content that allow them to make as much money as they make.